Pay attention.
It starts here.
Now that we're all prepared, let's start the show. Stop!
The conversation is about to get louder. You're listening to Miggs and Swig. Don Miggs, Ben Swig, and JoJo. From music to marriage, from politics to parenting, from dating to deep thoughts and sports. Get ready for Miggs and Swig. Life out loud.
Let's get the show on the road!
You know, I spend most of my time hoping that there'll be less people on air so I can talk more, and then when there are less people on air, it's a day I don't want to talk at all. So, hey, welcome to the Miggs and Swig Show. The first hour should be wonderful because we do have Roland. He's wide awake. Roland, that beard on you looks so good. You're a handsome man.
Dude, a facial hair? I mean, I appreciate the compliment, but it's so weird to me.
Yeah,
that changes
I
things.
never thought you were a good-looking guy, and right now you look pretty good.
Well, there's been a few women along the way
that
have thought I was handsome,
both
like my
of
mom
those.
and grandmother. You know? Yeah.
Does your wife think you're handsome?
I think that goes without saying. Yes.
That does not go without saying.
No?
She might be with you for your money.
Oh, then that was a mistake. The thing of it is I think it was JoJo said I looked younger.
And so
week?
you kept it when JoJo said it. You're like,
that helped a little bit, but there's gray hair underneath there.
oh, I don't have any gray, which is good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm doing really well with that. Well, I think it looks great. Ben, it's just the boys today. JoJo's out trying to save the world.
It is, and I had I don't know how I was worrying about all week how we were going to break it to everybody that JoJo's not here. It puts us in a little precarious situation because you and I, sir, are not very I wouldn't say not very liked.
No, we're polarizing.
We're polarizing, and people find our show to be repulsive. And the only redeeming factor of our show is JoJo, and so she's not here this week. So it got me a little twisted this weekend or this week, knowing that she was going to be here. And then I saw her yesterday out at Walmart. Drew Saves Christmas, and I guess we're just gonna have to go on, move forward.
Did you guys save Christmas? You think?
Well, we were talking about that yesterday, and
you talk about it yesterday, but we should probably talk.
We're gonna talk about it later, and hopefully we'll have a special caller calling in because it was truly an amazing day and an amazing thing what they did. I'm talking about the Drew Garabo show, and how much they raised, and I want him to be able to break the news and do that. So he said he would call in a little later, maybe, possibly, if we're so lucky. But
maybe, and that'll take up at least 5 minutes of less we have to do anything
exactly,
here for 2 hours.
And then we have somebody that's pretty universally loved across.
P. Diddy.
And I got to tell you, man, I just have to get this off my chest. I'm in a bad mood.
I'm in a bad mood too. You and I we didn't have any conversation here this morning.
No, we didn't. We walked in. We just sat on our computers. Our friend Jim came in, and I was probably completely rude to him because I just look.
He's still here, so I mean, I guess he's a glutton for punishment.
We'll get to him. We'll get to him. But I just have to get this off my chest, and I don't want to talk about it too long. I don't want to argue.
Is it
about
Jamie?
It. No, it's politics.
Oh no.
I just feel like I am living in a nightmare where the sitting president of the United States of America, he was standing when he said it, but he's the sitting president of the
This is Donald Trump.
This is Donald Trump. Right. Yesterday at a rally in Jacksonville, stood up there in front of, how many tens and thousands of the biggest crowds ever, and in front of America, and endorsed an alleged, accused, whatever you want to call it, child molester. This is the president of the United States endorsing an accused child molester. Now, look, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I don't care what your political beliefs are. This should be a universal, nonpartisan issue. And if you have kids and your kid comes to you, whether it's a day later, whether it's 30 years later, and says that they were raped or touched inappropriately or done whatever when they were 14 with somebody, you're going to believe that kid no matter what, right? Your kid comes up to you. You're not going to question the validity or that Hillary Clinton sent them or that the Democrats sent them or the timing of it or whatever it is. It's one thing, I think, where the bar of guilty or innocent before proven guilty is raised. And for the just stay away from for the president of the United States to say that a Senate seat is more important, that a Republican take it than a Democrat, made me sick to my stomach yesterday. I mean, just a rationale. And look, we're probably going to get into it because I kicked the bee's nest, but it is disturbing. This guy, I mean, and it's, you can say that I just find it hard to believe that 13 people all came together, coordinated how their stories, planned it out to take down Roy Moore. But the point is, and the fact is, let's just go to the facts. He was banned from a shopping mall because of some things he did to kids in that shopping mall. Banned. Don't come in here. You're not allowed. You're a creepy dude. Stay away.
How does he actually get elected?
Because here's what's happened. Here's what's happened in this country, and it is they have put, and by they I am particularly
Jamie.
No, I'm and I don't know how to say this without judging because I don't. I try not to judge people's religion, but the evangelical Christians have made a decision that abortion and making abortion illegal is more important. And the Second Amendment is more important than the character of the person voting on or becoming president or whatever. So they've made a choice. That character is less important than what they say they believe and what they're going to do, right? And so when he stands up there and says, that's what happened with Donald Trump, people just kind of looked the other way and said, yeah, but he has a nomination for, they know that he has at least one nomination for a Supreme Court justice. There might be two, so they've taken that route. Now with Roy Moore, I can't even. It just baffles me that a seat in the Senate is more important than. And here's the ironic thing, right, about these Christian evangelicals. They are supporters of life and prohibition, right? That's their abortion. And prohibition. That's their main thing, right? Abortion should be legal because it's a life, right?
Got it.
Is that proper? Is that a proper? Everybody can get behind that.
Jamie, behind it.
Yeah, you define that fine.
Okay. What about a 14-year-old life? What about the accusers?
Well, no. See, once they're born, they no longer care.
Oh, okay. So that's the way it goes.
That's the defining line.
Okay.
When they're still within the mother's womb, that's the evangelicals care so much. Once they're born, you're like, I need help raising this child. No. You're on your own.
So you can be touched in places you don't want to be touched.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
as long as you're touched by the Republicans.
But as long as you're.
I'm sorry, Don. Was I wrong in this assessment?
I mean,
have you been reading the news?
I try not to.
So I just, like I said, I again stood on my soapbox, but it really was a point last night where, I can deal with Donald Trump. I've learned to just, because it's something that comes once after another thing, after another, and eventually, and I think it might be a plan of his because, I do think he's smarter than we give him credit for, but, he just throws so much stuff at you that you forget about the next thing. Like Pocahontas. That was like 5 days ago. But now we're talking about something else. It just seems like, and we become almost like these terror attacks, desensitized.
Oh, you completely are.
Right?
But that is the plan. The problem that I have with all, and by the way, you listen to the Miggs and Swig show. That's basically Ben right now. If you want to call 800-771-1025 and argue with him about it, you're welcome to. But my issue with it is, in general, there's a level of decency and humanity that people just, you can sort of slop off the end of it. If it doesn't work for you, like there are some things I think that you can't even argue. The way you treat people, being ethical and honest and integrity, those things. I mean, the problem is it's a slippery slope. So my issue goes back to a couple of shows ago when we spoke about, adultery, all of that. I think the minute you either are on this side of the line or that side, and that's the problem with judgment, is that it's such a slippery slope. And I'm still trying to figure out my own head what I think is right. But you can't teach a straight and narrow if you're not walking it. So like even Al Franken, who I think I really liked him for some of the things he said. All of a sudden, this thing comes up, and it's like, I think he's doing the right thing, getting out of Dodge. He's
and he
smart
should
to do it.
He should.
And he should.
And it's a political. I mean, I think you got to let's call a spade a spade. And I'm not dumb enough or naive enough to believe that it's not a stunt, because you can't tell somebody to step down. They don't belong there when you have somebody in your own part. And that's the problem.
That's
here,
my issue.
Is that we politicized it. Right? This is an issue that should be 100% bipartisan. If anything in the world is going to be bipartisan, it's this.
Right.
That when a woman says no, a woman says no.
Right.
And she means it, and that's
Unless it's my wife, because honestly, one more drink, and there's a chance no goes to maybe, and then she's asleep, and I see her whisper yes.
it. But you know what I'm saying? It's like this. This shouldn't be a political issue, and what Al Franken did was completely political, and because they can say, look, what and then the other guy,
They jumped ahead. They were trying to take the high ground with Al Franken.
There you go.
If it wasn't for the Roy Moore accusation
Exactly.
on the
Never.
Senate, Franken would not have stepped down at all. He would have fought it.
or Harvey Weinstein, or whomever.
But my issue with that is that you get these people, like even Matt Lauer, he comes on and he's grilling O'Reilly.
Right.
He's grilling people about the way they are, and then
you find out he's that way.
then they're that way. So it's like, maybe my wife says I'm naive with this, because I just expect that if you're either one side or the other. It's like, I don't know. I want people to just sort of be a little more honest. Like, yeah, I'm kind of an ass, and I'm going to act like an ass, and that's who I am. Or when I look at you and say, how can you cheat on your wife? You can pretty much expect that I'm not cheating on mine because I'm actually judging you. But that's the problem. Like people just talk. They're just having conversation.
Right.
I mean,
let's see what Zach has to say.
well, we don't know, because I have no idea.
Well, let's just see what he has to say. We'll go blind. Zach, welcome to the Miggs and Swig Show. Good morning.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, so I just started listening as soon as you started saying in the beginning that you were upset in the morning, So, it's funny because as you were talking more about the subject, it seems like, you're saying that these things shouldn't be happening or something to that extent, and it's like, I think that a lot of times the perspective on it is that people have this idea or belief in their head of times past that these things don't happen.
Right.
But they do. They always do. And even in government they do. But it's now that – so two things are happening. One, it's coming out into the light now, which is, I don't think, on a level it hasn't come out before. And then people are not able to, accept that fact. So I think it's both. And then the third thing is that now it's being used as a political tool to manipulate who gets elected.
Exactly.
Which I agree with you. But do you think that did you drop him? You still there, Zach? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you think that when I don't even know how many accusers came after Roy Moore? I think it was 8, 9, 10. But at that point,
Those are the ages. Oh, I'm sorry.
But do you think at that point there is a little bit of truth to what the accusers are saying?
On a speculative gut level, based on that information, absolutely yes.
Right.
But you don't even have to. I wouldn't have to know whether it's true or not. If somebody's going through something like that, and the grocery store or whatever it was, supermarket that banned him, that should be enough as well.
Right.
So, the fact that you're dealing with something like that, you're in the midst of people accusing you of child molestation, stores are banning you. I don't think that's the time that you get elected to a political office.
Yeah. Well,
But if there's some reason, there's something in the game, like House of Cards, it's the same shit. So if it's something like that, where
watch your language there.
where my apologies.
It's all right.
So if it's him or Mitt Romney or there's somebody else they don't want, the end justifies the means to them, so they don't care. I mean, but that's how it's been for a long time now. People are just realizing that more. It's coming out into the light more, which is that's the positive side to it.
Well, I appreciate your call, and that is, I guess it lightens it up. I mean, takes a little bit of light off the load that I came in with this morning, but at the same time, I'm going to move forward today.
You know what?
We're going to take a commercial, right?
I think you're going to need a little bit of a reset.
And then I'm going to just.
I want to talk about Thanksmas.
Okay.
With Joe Madden. I want to talk. We have Jim Flynn here. He's going to come on and have some conversation with us. Jim, I'll let him say where he's from. It's small. It's a great small business in the community. I just never know if he wants us to talk about that.
Especially after that first segment, right?
After that first segment, what advertiser doesn't want to be in line here on the show?
Oh, my God.
There's a couple.
We have Metropolitan Ministries joining us today. Hopefully I'm going to get some pizza from Gennaro's and much, much more. So stay tuned to the Miggs and Swig Show.
Don't wanna face what I know. It's all too real. All the edge is big and bold. Don't wanna feel as the sky is getting dark. Nights closing in, memories flooding over me. And thoughts of him, 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 him. I can't take it when he's gone. It's too much for me. I turn to things so wrong. Wish they'd hold me. This battle, this company. I wish that they'd know me.
All right. That's a new song called Numb Me by the artist O'Neill Hudson. Just released everywhere where music is sold. She's Reeve Carney, the guy from Spider-Man on Broadway and Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's his little sister, who Bono from U2 actually said was his favorite female singer.
Speaking of Bono of U2, have you listened to the new album?
I have, and actually, let me just first say that please go and get it's O'Neill Hudson, and I produced that, and that's all my music. So,
sorry.
I wanted to give myself that plug. But the new album, I heard him this morning on. I heard them this morning on a replay of Howard Stern, and I really, really liked what I heard, which was acoustic. But I don't
It's
love.
not acoustic.
No, I heard an acoustic thing they did, which I loved because I didn't love the album.
You
The
didn't?
first half. I didn't love the first half.
I can't actually agree or disagree with you because I have just started listening to it probably 4 days ago. So
All right.
I can't. I mean, it's definitely not one of those albums that gets me right away.
Right.
You know.
He
but
gets a little. Sometimes he gets a little Ben Heldfond. Gets on the little bit on the little Swig soapbox.
Yeah.
Lyrically, and so I need to kind of get through that.
Yeah, I get that. No one wants to hear that nonsense.
Nobody wants
But
to, except I hear Scott does, because Scott was talking. So before the break, we were talking. Ben was very, very high up on the soapbox. We started pulling him off, and he wanted to just one more caller to call in and make it even worse. Scott, what do you have to say about Roy Moore and Al Franken?
Yeah, with the whole Roy Moore thing, the worst mistake was the media got involved, because now the media is telling Alabama people, what they can and cannot do, and people in Alabama don't want to hear that from the media. The media is simply saying you can't elect this person, you can't elect this person. No, well, the people of Alabama can do whatever they want. This is their politics. This is their candidate. Their election. It's not everybody else's, and the media needs to just get out of it, and people outside of Alabama need to get out of it. And with the whole accusation with Franklin, he really should never have said the things he said in that going out speech, because he turned it into an attack, and it was basically, don't pay attention to what I did, look at what they did, and I'm a saint compared to them. And it doesn't matter if you're a saint. You did what you did, and you filled the obligation to do what you want to do, then do it.
Right, but at the end of the day, Scott,
really feel,
at the end of the day, he did resign, and he is no longer a senator. So, I agree with you in a lot of ways that it was politicized, and the way he went out was, and that was the main reason for him doing it. But at the end of the day, he lost his job because of the things that he did. And to go back to your...
He lost his responsibility to the job, but he still gets the package. He still gets to keep everything, because he wasn't impeached, he wasn't removed, he wasn't forced out. Instead, he resigned, and now the investigation's over, and so now he can just go retire and live off of the taxpayers' dollars.
Well, there are guys who are sitting in, there are congressmen in jail right now who have the exact same package, so it's not necessarily a thing.
Yeah, I don't know if you can lose.
Yeah, that sucks, but it's sort of the way it is. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you're not an Al Franken fan.
I'm not a politician fan. I don't care who the politician is. I'm not a. As soon as you go into the field of politics, you lose my interest because all you do is make promises and you try to blame everything on everybody else except for taking ownership for what you can really do.
Yeah.
I mean, we as American society, if we really want to fix America or make America great again, whatever cheesy slogan you want to come up with, then the people have to get out of watching football, get out of the entertainment and interest, and really focus on let's make America great again. Let's develop our farmland. Let's I mean, we have acreage of land undeveloped that used to be farmland.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, and we appreciate the call and thank you for calling in and saying your views and I think he's right in some ways and I think he's wrong in other ways. I think that so you
feel strongly both ways.
Well, I mean, you can't. I mean, look, I try to find a middle ground, okay? And even my family's accused me of being on the air and trying to find a middle ground because they're from San Francisco and they are the progressive liberals that I guess once was or still am. But I still have always tried to see, and I think that's what he was saying is there is no middle ground. I mean, we are so far left or so far right that if the sky's blue, if the Republicans say the sky's blue, the Democrats are going to say, question that
Well, you
theory.
can make anything be what you want it to be, right? It's no different than if I look at financial numbers, right? And I'm looking at any sort of business, I can make the numbers sort of appear the way I need them so that I make myself sleep better at night. So, but there is something that you can't do that with, and that's and I know it's a cheesy segue, but we have Metropolitan Ministries. What did I call them last week?
I forget, but it was.
It was not Metropolitan Museum.
Right, museum. Right.
We have Cliff here this week. How are you, sir?
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being in. So I can tell you this. There's no far left or right with what you guys do. You're just saving lives and helping people live a better life every day.
Yeah, there really isn't. I mean, the Tampa Bay community, no matter what political view they have, they're a giving community, and they come out, especially during the holiday season, to bless those in need.
Yeah, we did. I did a thing last night with Joe Madden for Thanksmas. He does, which was pretty amazing. Really nice thing, and it's the same thing. You have a bunch of people come out. Some of them are sneaker sniffers. They come out because they want to get near an athlete. But, in the end, they're still everybody's giving something and giving money and time. And, I mean, what more can you ask for? And it looks like you guys do a bunch of that. Am I looking right now? Is this what is this that you guys have?
They don't let me come unless I bring food. So I'm the head of social enterprise and food service. So food's my game.
So when did Metropolitan Ministries put that rule in effect? Because we've had you on a couple times.
Well, Tim, Tim's big dog in it. He big dogs.
Tim. So CO's not coming with food.
I give Tim a bag every time. I don't think it just makes it here. He eats it all.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're the president.
Yeah.
Right?
Wait, is this from that?
This is donation.
Has anyone been to donation? We had it the other day. The chocolate chip. So it's basic. Have you been there, Jamie?
I've been on the receiving end.
Donation. Have you been to donation?
No.
He's
double chocolate.
So it's edible cookie dough, and then we also have ice cream.
It's
It's
unbelievable.
our newest social enterprise.
How is it doing?
Oh, unbelievable. I mean, they're just lined out the door on the weekends. It's crazy.
It
Till
is
midnight.
crazy.
So is this something you'll continue? Because I had heard about it.
I got to look at this one.
And I heard it's great, and I can't wait to taste it because I wanted to go. Is this something that will continue?
Oh, yeah.
So it's something it's just not for a short amount of time?
No, this will continue.
For profit. You guys are going to make money on this.
This is for profit. Everything we do in social enterprise, we're either job training, creating jobs,
right,
and then creating revenue to go back to Metro to do our mission in the community.
So not only does the income come from what you do, but the people you hire are people in your job training
Yeah, our
Cool.
culinary students, our residents, previous people have went through our program. We employ.
What other social enterprises?
We have Inside the Box. Was our first one. We've had it for 5 years. It's a big catering company, and we've had cafes. We went to some grab and go cafes because we're at the airport now. We do grab and go food at the airport. But we have a new one opening up at Armature Works. It's going to be the best sandwich place in town because we're roasting. We're roasting, we're brining, we're smoking all our own meats from scratch.
So you're going straight after rights, huh? You're gonna.
We're going
right at them.
I don't want to say rights
good.
is awesome.
Hey, I love rights.
No,
rights
I do
is
too.
rights
I do
is
too.
awesome,
But I love Metropolitan Ministries better.
And they donate a lot to us too. So they're a giving company too.
So Cliff is not saying don't go to rights. He's saying get to rights, but right when you're done. Get on over to anything they're doing.
It's a different level.
What's the name of this social enterprise?
Inside the Box,
the donuts.
The Dough
donuts.
Nation. It's called Dough Nation. Yeah.
Look, you see the way they did that with the dough and the nation?
Tim and I didn't get that.
No.
It took our great board member who's helped me develop this, and this is his property that we're at, Bob Basham.
Wait, who doesn't love? By the way, you do anything with Bob Basham?
Oh my gosh!
I guarantee you know what he's going to do with this thing. This thing will be.
Yeah, he's talking franchise.
Of course,
we're talking. Yeah,
He's
so
the man.
just
he's so smart.
He said we were going to do it together, so I thought he would just let me roll with it.
Yeah,
he was
right.
hands on the whole way through. What a blessing for someone to work with.
I'll never forget Bob opened the PDQ on South Delmabor here. And you would go in there for the first month, and you'd see him back there.
He's working.
Of course.
He's working every line, making sure all the quality control stuff going on. I mean, hey, look, Outback doesn't get to where it is.
PDQ.
For those of you who don't know, Bob Basham is one of the co-founders of Outback Steakhouse, as well as so many others. Bonefish, PDQ is his newest thing, and he's a restaurant operator, like probably the best in the world.
If Bob says get involved, yes, he is. If he says get involved, you get involved.
Right. You don't get to where Outback is without having a great restaurant operator. Because anybody who's ever tried to operate a restaurant or work in a restaurant knows what a tough business it is to make money.
Yeah, he's. But the thing is, you talk about even going back to the first segment when you talk about integrity and intent. That's the thing about someone like Bob Basham. Not to make this whole thing about him, but people like him. The reason it's not a coincidence when things work. It's because you get good people doing good things for the right reasons, and Bob does it through and through. He's a good dude.
Yeah, I mean he's what you're supposed to be when you're philanthropic. He just gives. Last thing he'd want today is his name mentioned on this, or getting any credit for.
All I need is a bowl. If Roland doesn't get bowls for these, I'm gonna be so upset. So what is it that people can do to help? And I know also we're gonna go to commercial, but I know Jim and South Tampa Dermatology, you guys are doing something with Metropolitan Ministries as well, yes, Jim?
Well, it's not formal. We didn't ask their permission or anything, but we will be donating a portion of our cosmetic proceeds over the next few weeks till the end of the year. And
awesome.
We have the patients write the check directly to Metropolitan Ministries and not to us.
Wow.
And so
I don't think you need permission for that. I think that's an excellent idea.
Isn't that real? And it's a pretty nice thing. So that's South Tampa Dermatology, those guys are always trying to do something nice, and they've been supporters of our show for a long time. And actually, I'm going to right now read this thing because they're doing a Miggs and Swig special. They're going to save on Botox, which you should get with Bob Basham to see about putting a little Botox store right in front of this donation, like just a little, like a kiosk, giving people as they're online. You can save on Botox from $12 a unit to $10 a unit. And if you want to write a check to Metropolitan Ministries for $1 a unit, they're going to give a discount immediately. So you buy 40 units, you get an $80 discount. Write a check to Metropolitan Ministries for $40, and they lower your cost by that 40, and you save $80. Does it make sense? I mean, I think it does. And if they want to get in touch,
big saving.
stderm.com. And the phone number, I have no idea, but we do have the man here who would know the number.
it's speed dial 2. I mean, I
do you not
call
know
the
it?
office.
Are you kidding me? You tell me you know the number.
813-872-9551.
And that's, I mean, for anybody who has played around with botulism. That is a very, very, very good deal. So that's not, I mean, to get it for that amount of money is pretty much unheard of. And I don't know how you're making money off of it, but thank you for giving our listeners a little something.
And you listen to Miggs and Swig. We'll be back with these two wonderful people after these messages.
I saw myself again. I thought I saw myself again. So I followed, so I followed.
That is a song called Twins by Crowdcastle Lake from, I want to say Dublin, Ireland, somewhere in Ireland, that are on Bright Antenna Records. The song was released a little bit ago, and their full album should be out soon. Great album, just it's sort of an experience, a little something different that, probably will never go mainstream or pop, but it's just the whole album's a musical experience, like a play. I mean, they're like 6-7 minute songs.
I love that.
So it's different. It's not, something that's gonna, be heard on, Pop One.
It doesn't all have to be.
No, it doesn't.
It's like the thing I just did with Mo. It's literally a 6 minute song, and it does not matter to me. It's cool. By the way, so we have Cliff here from Metropolitan
And this
Ministries.
is the Miggs and Swig Show.
And this is the Miggs and Swig Show. So,
and I'm Ben Swig, and you're Don Miggs, and JoJo's not here, but we do have. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm here for you.
We have Jim
That's why I
Flynn
love you.
from South Tampa Dermatology. But I got to get to Cliff because I'm getting texts from people saying how humble you are, that you are an amazing chef. And that's why I just brought that up to you, that somebody texted me and said, he's being really humble. He's an amazing chef. So,
trained?
I mean,
I like a lot of chefs. I came up the Hard Knocks way, starting as a dishwasher and working my way
So in
up
the kitchen, the restaurant.
Yeah. So,
but you ever have any professional training or?
No.
No.
It's just creativity isn't something you can teach.
It's really true. And
Yeah.
I'm amazed at when I go to restaurants, and we've had this conversation before on the show, but how you figure out that this tastes good with that. I mean, there's so many random stuff that you go, how would you ever even imagine that would taste good together?
And that's like trial and error. A good friend of ours, Tyler Florence, if you know that chef, he's actually going to call in any minute because on his time, he and I are working together on something, but he's that way where you see people like you in the kitchen, and literally it looks like you're just looking
Mad
at all this
scientist,
stuff, and
yeah.
you're like, let me grab a pinch of that, put this over here. And it's amazing to watch. And I've just been bitten by the bug a little bit of cooking because my oldest boy is 8, and he loves cooking. So now every Saturday we do a mystery box. And there's usually salmon in it because that, no matter what happens, you can eat it. No one's going to die. But then we have capers in it, or there's whatever it is, and we just figure out how we're gonna make it, and we make it, which is a lot of fun.
And it's amazing now that kids look at chefs as
they're rock stars.
Yeah,
they are the rock stars.
Wow.
I
And it
say
was never
chefs
like that.
and chefs and artists are the new rock stars. But Cliff, I want to make sure we get to what you guys are in need of. What you guys do for the community is so great. What can we do to help you?
Over the last 4 years, it's as the economy improved, we were seeing less, a little bit less people every year coming to the tent. But this year, we projected 8,000 families would come, and we're up to 10,000 right now.
Why do you think that is?
I'm not sure. There's just a need out there.
Right.
It could be any reason from losing a job to becoming sick, or they just need some help to get through the holidays. So we have 20,000 kids that we're providing toys for, and that's 2 toys each. So that's like 40,000 toys. So we have a huge need for toys. A lot of it's teen gifts because people always love to give those, middle-aged kids gifts.
Yeah.
but-
So if you had which was going to be a question, a specific need when you look at your inventory, is it boy, girl, age?
Yeah, it's boy and girl teens.
And
And I think we have some infant gifts also as well. And, people, sometimes you don't know what to get. A gift card is great for a teen.
Now, let me
that's a good idea.
And I don't want to be a jerk when I ask this, but do you prefer or do you only take unopened gifts or?
Yeah,
is it
new unopened gifts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
definitely new gifts.
Take your giveaways, give them to someone else. Ben, all right? Don't clear out your house and try to give it to Metropolitan
We
Ministries.
do have a thrift store.
Yeah,
we
they
do
have a thrift
take
store,
everything.
that's what I'm saying.
All right.
We
So-
take everything, but
Right.
the need for the holiday tent is
is a new-
definitely.
What
new
is
gifts.
what's the gift card amount that you prefer for that you're going to be giving as a thing?
Usually, $25, $30 for the teen gift.
Okay,
would
so
be a good
that's
amount.
a good one. 25,
Yeah,
30,
good amount.
so $30
or,
bucks.
Or just, people ask me about the food side. Like, we need hams too. That's one thing we're short on is hams. And they're like, well, should I go buy ham? Should I just give you money for the ham?
Right.
You can go online to metromin.org, and there's a virtual store where you can actually buy the food that you want it purchased online.
And
so
you
you
buy
don't have to
it,
go shopping.
and then they get
Yeah.
to. Can you give us that website one more time?
It's metromin, metromin.org.
.org, and we will put that on all our social medias. And if you're
I'm
not
gonna-
following us, it's everything at Miggs and Swig on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And I'll do 50 $30 gift certificates. I'll have that for you.
Awesome.
50.
50 of them.
Oh, you're kind
How
of
much is that? Can you tell me how much I'm going to be spending? I don't do that.
Are you
now.
going to be paying cash or Bitcoin?
I'm going to be. I'm going to use IOU. If you can, we'll make sure I get that. We'll get it all coordinated, and I'll have that Monday or Tuesday for you guys.
Awesome.
And that's for me too, as well.
You know what? Throw it. That's from Ben as well.
So he doubled it. Is
Yeah,
that what he meant?
yeah. We just made it.
It's called the Miggs and Swig Show. So when when we give as a group.
I didn't realize that, but thank you very much for being here. And you're not gonna be able to hear this, but I need to go. We have a guest on the line, Big Daddy Payne. That's Tyler Florence is with us. How are you, T?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm good. We're saving the world over here.
Tyler Florence.
We are,
Hello.
How are you, sir? How you doing, man?
Oh, good.
I'm good. I'm good,
Chop
man.
liver, man. You've changed, Tyler Florence. I don't even know who you are anymore.
Yeah, he knows who he is. He's
a
the
big
guy,
deal.
big ballin'.
It can't get back to it.
He told me the truth is he's never liked you.
I know.
And he said you're not likable.
I know.
I know we're doing good things on the show right now.
He sent me this thing about bees. He sent me this thing about bees. So let me just really quick.
Wait, sorry, but he wants to interrupt you and,
I
and
do,
just keep
'cause
talking.
he
Go
sent
on.
me this great thing about bees and what a big business it is and all this, and I've been trying to have conversations with him, and he just goes dark. Crickets.
Yeah, because he
You
knows
should've
that
told
you're
me
the.
about crickets.
Talking about?
I'm just
what are you talking
Tyler,
about?
don't
Have we
get
not-
sucked
have we not
in.
known each other for 10 years? I mean, 15 years. How long have we known each other?
15 years.
Don't
at
get
least.
sucked in,
Fuck
Tyler.
you guys.
Don't get sucked into him.
Don't buy the Jewish guilt.
No, he does this thing. He
I
does
love you,
it.
T. So anyways,
So this is what this radio show is like without Joanne, right?
Yeah, it evolves. It devolves.
lots of narcissism.
So Tyler, I've been engrossed in doing this thing. Tyler, a few days ago, sent me a text and said, "Hey, I think that's something that you and I can work on." And it's something I'm really, really proud to be doing. And I'm doing some music for this thing. But I would love Tyler. Just if I don't know if we're too early for it, I'd love for you to sort of explain what's going on. First of all, Tyler's ruling the world. So follow Tyler Florence. He literally, I don't know how he does it. There's not any chance that he is that he is in all the places that he claims to be.
There's three of them.
Yeah, all right, there is.
That's the.
There's a bot.
I've known him for 15 years, and that's the conclusion I've come up with. That there are three Tyler Florences
Yeah.
because he's everywhere.
Yeah.
There simply can't just be one of them.
Yeah, there's one who's the sweet, like, hey, if you're a soccer mom, you're gonna love me. There's
Right.
the other one who's on a bike somewhere, and
They all have different personalities.
Right, one of them that he sends me he'll just send me text with a song, and I'm like, how the hell is this guy listening to this song? But it's always pretty comical. So Tyler, explain what's going on.
Yeah. First of all, I just want to applaud you guys for such a fantastic show, man. I think Miggs and Swigs is killing it. When are you guys going? When are you guys going national? When is this?
Well, they're throwing
traffic's
us
gonna
out at
start
some
getting-
point soon, if that's what you mean by national. We're going to be looking for a job. We're going door to door soon.
Tyler, we're just
syndicated.
Tyler, little things. We're just trying to get invited to the Cox Media Christmas party, which they obviously jumped our invitation. So before we even start about syndication, we got to worry about our own position on the show here.
Yeah, and it was Thursday, so you're late to the party.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. I already know we weren't invited.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways.
Oh, that hurts.
That hurts.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Tyler. Thank you. But listen, thank you very much. And I just real quick, do you like me more or Ben? I just want to get that one out of the way. And
Well, I guess it depends on where we are in the world. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's like, are we talking about Tampa Don and Montana Ben? Like, what are we talking about?
All right.
It's kind of a good point.
I've known both of you guys forever, by the way, and I some of the dearest friends on planet Earth. The whole family. Tola and I just adore you guys. So we're in New York City right now. My lovely wife Tola and I just had our 11th wedding anniversary, and sometimes you just got to steal a little bit of time out of the schedule. So
that was a great wedding.
It was a great wedding. Both of you guys came to that wedding. It was amazing. And Ben.
No, Ben didn't.
Ben didn't
No,
go.
Ben wasn't invited. He lost that invite too. By the way, I was at the Christmas party for Cox Media Thursday too. It was just Ben who wasn't invited there.
We were on Ben was on tenuous ground around that time.
All right, wait. Let me just tell you, I have one of my favorite photos ever of Lisa and I kissing at your wedding, and then we've gone back to that place. It's been 4 times, and I was just telling Chef Cliff is here, and we were just talking about somebody in a kitchen, and one of my fondest memories is the night before. We're like at not a resort. What do we call that place?
Palmetto Bluff.
Yeah, is it a resort?
Yeah.
All right, all right, but we're in these houses, and all of a sudden, Tyler is like in a kitchen on the eve of his wedding, and he's cooking with his dad. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, you're going to eat this meal! It's unbelievable!" Making meatballs, and the guy's like,
"Yeah, that's right."
And he's doing like I don't even know that he has any clue what he's putting in. He's literally looking around the room like, "I think this sock will probably do," and just throwing stuff in the mix, and then you taste it, and it was heaven. It was unbelievable.
My son's a chef too.
Delicious.
We do that. It's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah, well, it's how it rolls.
Yeah,
this is the great thing about knowing people for so long, because I think these memories are really important. You know what I mean? Especially like the older we all get, like the friends that we can say, hey, remember back then that thing that we did together? Those end up becoming fewer and farther between. So these moments we all kind of like look at each other and go, wasn't that cool with that thing we did 10 years ago? This is what I love about you guys, man. So I'm happy to be on with you this morning, man.
Well, good. And last thing, remember, Ben's actually not part of the family anymore. So when you talk about love of the family, you cannot bring Ben into that either. That's the past.
There's something there. You know what I mean? This is whatever it is. It's something like however you guys are working it out. The modern family. You guys are making it work as a group. So I love it.
All right, Tyler, tell us what's going on.
Yeah. So I've been really lucky to work on a bunch of projects in my career that I think have been sort of transformative in a way. With starting with Food Network back in 1996, and then having an opportunity to take over the old Rubicon space in San Francisco. It's now Wayford Tavern, and some of these things are just sort of kind of are a moment in time where you take a big pivot and you are different after that. And I think this project that we're currently working on right now, lucky enough to be telling the story, is one of those things. So the fires in the wine country, in Sonoma, Napa, Lake County, Mendocino, that broke out on October 9th, and even more relevant now that the fires are in Ventura and Bel Air in Los Angeles and now in San Diego. So the fires that burned for almost a month in Northern California started on the 9th, and they ended on like the 1st of November. So it was almost a month. They were burning a little over 3 weeks. And they burned over 300,000 acres. They burned over 8,000 structures to the ground, and 50 people lost their lives. And it was one of those most horrific fires. And it was the biggest wildfire in the state of California, the most expensive wildfire in American history. And so after that, the state of California that I've been close to since we've lived there reached out to me and wanted to know if we could do something, if the state of California could do something So we partnered with Outstanding in the Field, which is just like this amazing, dining experience. They throw these like one-of-a-kind dinners all over the world. They happen to be doing something in Southern California, so we invited them up to partner with us. And then we threw this spectacular lunch. We raised a bunch of money for first responders and fire victims in Mendocino, Sonoma, Napa County, also the California Restaurant Association, and we had 504 people. If you actually go through my Instagram feed, there's a bunch of like really beautiful images about it. So then we decided to kind of take it one step further, just because I've been in the television business for 21 years now. That we wanted to capture all of this, and not just necessarily the event, but really kind of tell the story of the fires. Because just like in Tampa, and fingers crossed that Tampa averted what would have been a horrible catastrophe with the hurricane in September, and then also Hurricane Irma. So I think more than ever, these communities across the country are reeling from natural disasters that seem to be kind of ongoing. So there's floods and tornadoes and hurricanes, and in California we're susceptible to both earthquakes and fires that kind of happen. But this year it's been crazy. So the Cal Fire, which is the big organization, it's sort of the big wildfire. There's local firehouses, but then there's Cal Fire, which mainly focuses on wildfires. But they just reopened the fire season because of the extended dry weather that we've been having in November. And normally, in Northern California, it rains 6 months a year, almost every day, and then the rest of the year it's kind of like beautiful, but the ground is really, really saturated. Now we're getting these like spots of weather that some people are calling climate change, and so but the world is different in a really, really big way, and the environment that we're living in is becoming more fragile by the year. So we started making a documentary about this entire experience, and so we've been filming
Tyler.
Wait.
Yeah.
Tyler, I got to pump the brakes on that because we have to go to break, but we're going to come back with you. We're going to come back with you, and you can finish up.
And now it's called a cliffhanger. You just gave us a cliffhanger. Uncrushable. We're going to now get into it.
That was the whole point. I was going to tease it, and then we're going to come back, and if you want to hear what Tyler's up to save these fires and help people out, we're going to talk about it when we get back. That's the great Tyler Florence. We'll be right back after these messages. Miggs and Swig.
All right, everybody. Pay attention.
It starts here.
Now that we're all prepared, let's start the show.
The conversation is about to get louder. You're listening to Miggs and Swig. Don Miggs, Ben Swig, and JoJo. From music to marriage, from politics to parenting, from dating to deep thoughts and sports. Get ready for Miggs and Swig. Life out loud.
Let's get the show on the road.
All right, we don't have a lot of lollygagging time. First hour has been fun. If you're just tuning into the Miggs and Swig show, well, good. You didn't lose that hour of your life. But if you're just tuning in, it's a no-Joe show today. She's out saving the world. And so it's just Ben and I and assorted guests. And I know Ben has some quick. Ben, it needs to be quick because Tyler Florence is on the line, and he's as long-winded as we are.
We do have Tyler on the phone, but some breaking news is relevant here to the Bay Area because it's a sports breaking news. The Yankees have reached a deal with the Marlins to get Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah.
That is a big deal.
That's a big deal. I heard that this morning.
Him and Aaron Judge together are going to be a massive
Now,
team.
well, we have a manager who has never even coached a Little League game.
We have more fans. I think the Yankees have more fans in Tampa than the Tampa Bay Rays have in Tampa.
That's true.
Yeah.
But we do have Tyler Florence, the unbelievable
T-Flow.
Tyler Florence. So we were talking about, we got to the point where you did 504 or something people at a table. Beautiful, and then they talked about filming, and then Uncrushable, and that's where we are. Give us the rest of this
quickly.
Not that. Come on.
So we're filming a documentary film on the wine country fires called Uncrushable, and it'll be this amazing story about the triumph of the human spirit and the beautiful people on wine country. So I just think a lot of communities across the country are starting to kind of like lived through these natural disasters. And so I think a lot of people are going to identify with the film. It's equally as beautiful as it might be a tad scary. Yeah. But these are real life situations that I think deserve to be told. So anyway, yes, we're making this beautiful food film where it's like chefs to the rescue, and also like a bunch of amazing musicians and stories to be told. So firefighters that lost everything while they're protecting other people's homes, like winemakers and restaurateurs. And
can you tell that one story,
T?
Can you tell the one story of the 75-year-old couple? And make it do the abridged version. Have Tolan prod you while you're doing it.
Right. So when we first started filming, maybe 3 weeks ago, we got invited to a sort of a community get together, and it was right after the fire. It's about 5 days after the fire, and we were doing interviews with people, just sort of kind of capturing their stories, and it's been great for people to just talk about it, right? Because it was like literally what a lot of people are calling like hell on earth. And just to kind of experience that. So we were speaking to this woman who lost her home of 50 years, and what that was like for her to be able to live through that and tell about it. And so I asked her one simple question, like, when you saw your property after the house burned down, like, how'd you feel? And she said she had not seen it yet. And she actually invited us to go walk the property and for her to sort of experience that for the first time. And when she first did that, I kind of declined it because I felt it was too personal. But then she just insisted that we go. So this like human emotion of like this woman seeing her home that she had spent the last 50 years of her life, brought all of her children home from the hospital, celebrated her grandchildren's birthdays. She lost it in 2 hours, and on the night of October 8th. So there's all these like amazing stories of people that they kind of lived through this like the incredible tragedy that Northern California is still reeling from, but it's still equally as beautiful. And that's the thing about it. So it's really sort of a message of come to California, because that's the best way we're going to start to recover from this whole process. So if you guys are looking for a fantastic vacation, especially this time of year, Northern California is a really beautiful place to go. Go check into a hotel. We call it Cabernet Sauvignon season because it's the weather's kind of cool. It's a good place to kind of have like a beautiful meal from some of our most famous chefs, and they kind of snuggle around a fire and have some great California red wine. But the story is incredible, and Don Miggs is scoring the entire film.
Wow, that guy's amazing.
That's breaking news. And Don and I have been kind of working offline on some of the most compelling music I think you've ever done. I'm a colossal fan of your work.
Thank you.
But I think that when people say, hey, what's your favorite dish you've ever cooked? And I always say to them, I haven't cooked it yet. And every time I hear something new out of you, I'm just thinking you're at a different place in your life, and you're getting deeper and sharper and stronger all the time. And sometimes that's hard to even like imagine, because you're such a talented musician. But dude, you're doing it, and it's fantastic.
Thank you.
You have your head out of his.
No. Can I just tell you though? Like this morning before I came here, I said to Lisa, I just need an hour. I got to get out in the studio because it's just compelling to me right now. I can't stop. It's so compelling to me. I cannot stop. I literally keep going out and I keep adding. What's cool about this type of music is that it's soundscapes. So there are all these things that it could go on. You can just hear a drone for 16 bars. And then when one piano note comes in, it's going to really be powerful. And the thing I need to do at some point is actually get more footage so that I'm actually scoring it to the film. But right now I'm just putting together these images to hopefully sort of set the stage. Hey T, I'm excited about Uncrushable. There's one, I don't know, can we have this person on while Tyler's on? Does that work or no? So there's a gentleman here that's on the line, Jeff, who Master Chef contestant, and you are the reason he cooks, and he wants to say hi. Jeff, say hi to Tyler.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on the call. Tyler, I just wanted to say to you, you were the inspiration at the stage of my life as a young adult and as a teenager. I'm now 30 years old. That got me into the kitchen. I used to watch you I watched every episode of Tyler's Ultimate. I saved them. I tried every recipe. And this past year was a humbling experience because I was the 5th best amateur home cook on Fox TV's MasterChef. And you had a huge part in that. And from afar, I just wanted to say thank you for being in the kitchen, and thank you for inspiring me, because you have been that idol from a culinary world for me. to get me to where I needed to be, and I thank you.
Wow.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much. I appreciate that, man. We got to buckle down some training, man. We got to get you in the top 2 next time, man. We got to get you in the
Sounds like a
final,
plan.
brother.
And it's Jeff Philbin. Jeff Philbin, by the way, if anyone wants to look up Jeff and see
There
what
you
he's
go.
doing.
Tyler, changing lives. Well, Tyler, we appreciate it, man. You know how much we love you and continue to do what you do, or the three of you do, and enjoy your anniversary with your wife up in New York. And thanks for taking the time for us.
All right.
I love you guys. Thanks so much,
All right,
man.
take care,
I'll see you
Tyler.
guys soon.
Yes.
All right, take care.
You know, it's interesting. He brought up this fact that
About me?
No,
Oh,
no,
no,
there
it
was not
wasn't
about
about
you, but about what people when they go through some natural disaster, how they can empathize, how it turns from sympathy almost to empathy. And I had that with my family because we talked. We have a family ranch up at Sonoma that was literally being threatened by the fires, and my brothers were up there holding the line of the ranch. And I was just there for Thanksgiving, and you can see the fire line from the buildings, like
That's
literally
crazy.
100 feet away. But the point is, when I stayed in my house for the hurricanes, they said how stupid I am. Get out of there. It's the same thing. But fast forward a couple months, and they're going through, their house potentially being destroyed. And but not only that, but the thought of it and the stress that goes through, losing everything. It changes once you've gone through it.
Right.
So, everybody has their own thing, but we can't really understand it, what it feels like to have to worry about it for a week or maybe even more about losing everything.
Yeah.
So,
I lived in, Lisa and I had a place in Malibu, and several times there were fires, and we had to evacuate, and houses right around us, like several houses burned to the ground. And there was at one point, our place was owned by, who's the actress? Oh, Shirley MacLaine owned the building at one point. She said one year there was a fire, and she told us this, that she literally was on her rooftop with a hose.
Wow.
On the
Shirley
roof.
MacLaine.
She was like, this ain't taking me down. I've died 5 times already. Which
Or
is
I
pretty
should be
crazy.
dead.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, hey, so you are listening to Miggs and Swig Show, and it looks like all we do is go to commercial here, and we're going to do that again. So we'll be back after these words with more Miggs and Swig.
I jump from thought to thought like a flea jumps to a lie. You could give an aspirin the headache of its life. Maybe it's the crazy that I miss. Watering plastic plants in the hope that they'll grow. Seeing a message flash and then smashing up my phone. Maybe it's the crazy that I miss.
welcome back, everybody, to the Miggs and Swig Show as we continue the shameless self-promotion of Don's music and my record label's music, Bright Antenna Records. That is the new single from our band, The Wombats. It's called Turn. It's really good. The album's going to be unbelievable, coming out early 2018. Welcome back to the Miggs and Swig Show. Ben Swig, of course, Don Miggs. We are no JoJo today.
It's a no-Joe show.
It's a no-Joe show. So it is just completely.
But we do have Jim Flynn with us.
We have Jim Flynn from South Tampa Dermatology.
That's
so
a pretty lame substitution.
You know what, Jim? So Jim sends us all these texts, Ben, and always he's the funniest guy on text ever.
Yeah, exactly.
He gets on here and I don't hear
Crickets.
him. He's crickets. He's Crickets McGee over
But let
here.
me tell you, the guy is funny, and he sends some great content for us that we use on the show every time. We do have a caller, and you and I and all listeners know him as the famous, what is he? Quick-witted, smart, freestyle rapping, gingling, drinking, Beastie Boy loving, chick magnet, and just basically all-around good dude. He's the lead voice of the group.
Wait, I don't know who you're talking about.
Well, here's what I'm telling you. Mr. Drew Garabo himself. And the reason I use the past tense of that, of as we used to know him, is because yesterday this dude and his whole show stood outside of Walmart and broadcasted for 13 hours to try to save Christmas. So no longer is he all those other things.
And he wasn't turning tricks or anything on the side. He was just being good.
I'm convinced he is now a half Jewish elf instead of a radio show promoter.
All right.
Or host. So welcome,
promoter.
Mr. Drew R. Garabo. What did you do today to save the world?
Do I have to choose one of those? Can't I be both a radio talk show host and a half Jewish elf?
As long as you stick, but as long as you stick to the freestyle rapping, Beastie Boys loving, gingling, drinking dude that you are.
Yes, those all applied. However, I must correct you. I did not stand out in front of a Walmart. We were seated most of the time, and we actually were on the air for 12 hours, 48 minutes. I don't want to overstate what we did yesterday.
Oh, semantics, Drew Garabo, semantics.
That's a good point.
Let's get
Thank you.
Let's get down to the nitty gritty. How much? Okay, first of all, let's start with your goal that you set out to raise.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so my on-air goal was 400 bikes. My personal secret goal was 500 bikes. I thought if I said 400 and then acted like we weren't going to get 400, we might get 500.
Smart.
Well, that didn't look like it was going to happen early in the day, and my concern was genuine. I forgot about how the late afternoon and early evening crush can really kick us into high gear. So when we were at 93 bikes, I think by noon, I was really genuinely worried that we weren't going to get it.
And he's not lying. He was. I mean, you could tell in in his voice on the air that he was worried about the prospect of getting even close to your goal.
Yeah, and it'd be really embarrassing to say, oh, I hope we get 400, but then to secretly hope we get 500, and then to get like 300 or 200. I mean, that's still a lot of bikes for kids for Toys for Tots, but still, you know, you have a certain expectation for going out there for 12 hours, and you want to meet that, if not exceed it.
Right, and so 400, 500, and I think the turning point, if I remember, was Charlie Belcher was on and making fun of Micah and drawing rainbows, and then she brought in some positivity, and then all of a sudden I think Steve Hurley drove up with 30, 40 bikes or something, and then from that moment I think it's switched, your attitude.
Yeah. Once you get a healthy donation like that, you know, you really start to see that your goal is reachable. So then, you know, you get upwards of 300, which I think we did 2 years ago, and you're like, okay, and then we passed 400, which we did last year. We're like, all right, this is going to happen. And then we kind of stalled for a little bit, and then I think, man, I can't wait to listen back to it, because John, Kevin, and I were just sitting there, and we saw Gennaro pull up with 2 big trucks with over 50 bikes. And right then, all the online orders started coming out, and then we took the cash and bought another 40 bikes with that. So that pushed us right up to 569 bicycles. We were 31 short of 600.
And that,
wow.
Then,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask for the final number. Was that the final number?
Glad you asked. No, that was not the final number. We were ready to call it the final number because it far exceeded anyone's hopes, dreams, and expectations. So we heard there was a guy on the phone who was kind of haggling with the Walmart to buy the rest of the bikes. I don't know what was going on there. We gave up on that. We're about to call it, going once, going twice, 569, and then Dave Harb from Live Nation calls up, man who pretty much runs the AMP. And of his own money and his own volition, he wanted to get us up to 600. So we got up 600 bikes, and then we called it a night.
Wow.
Congratulations.
And so this, I mean, that is truly unbelievable. And not only bikes, mind you. I mean, bikes is the sort of shining object that they give. But, you know, when I was out there and hearing you on the radio, people brought in cash that went towards bikes, but other gifts as well, correct?
Oh yeah, a whole lot of toys. We we start to count the toys every year, and then it goes up into the thousands. You're like, oh, can't do this anymore. So yeah, I don't want to just act like bikes is all we go after. We got so many toys for the kids of Toys for Tots in Pinellas County. It's amazing the outpouring of support for this event and how many people give so much to make it happen. And I appreciate you being out there, Ben. And I know JoJo's not there. I'd tell her that she was amazing yesterday too, especially with that MC Guy segment.
It's hilarious.
And I wasn't so good, you're saying?
No.
I lost that invite. I got the Cox Christmas party, but did not get the...
You got to show up in order to get thanks, Joe. Don Miggs.
Yeah. It's a weird thing that I have. I don't know. It's kind of odd.
So Drew, we came on to the Bone about a month before your Christmas, and so we were there. This was the third time we were there. How? I mean, even before then, how has this event progressed as far as that moving target of bikes? I mean, you said a few years ago it was 300. I mean, when you started, how many bikes did you raise to what it is today?
Yeah, man, I think it's a good barometer of success. And, you know, we didn't really know what to expect the first year, and we got a couple hundred, I believe. And then the next year we thought, well, gosh, let's add 100 to that. I think every year we figure out different ways we can tweak things. And this year, with the amazing amount of people and organizations like the Tampa Bay Lightning, who donated online by buying a bike and then selecting in-store pickup, that's the next level. And SBK had a great idea yesterday that's going to kick it up even more next year. So people are like, oh, how are you going to beat 600 bikes? I think starting next year, we're going to look at 600 as a joke. I'd be surprised if we didn't get 1,000 bikes with online orders next year.
The ultimate tease right there.
And do you take any of those bikes and then be like Big Pop at home and just use them in the house, or you just those just all go to the actual charity? You're not taking any of those for personal use? He doesn't even answer that.
Crickets.
No, I'm not doing that, Don.
No.
I was driving home because I left right around the 6 o'clock hour, and when that truck pulled up, you were talking about from the generator company, and SBK said we should hold back some of them for next year as a holdover and put some.
I mean, 600 bikes is a lot of bikes.
So SBK is like, we already reached our goal, so why don't we take about 100 of them, store them away for next year, and we'll already have a head start. I thought that was the brilliant idea, but I guess there's another one here.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, there's actually a better one than that, but it does involve a head start and online orders.
When does it start?
I can't wait.
When did this start? Like, so when did you start? Is literally taking orders from? Is it just? When do you start taking orders from getting people donate the bikes?
Sure. Well, typically we're not really good at organizations, so probably the day of the toy drive is we're going to screw up again, and that's when it's going to start. But if we're thinking next year, I think you can online order within 7 days for pickup. So maybe a week out, we have to start online ordering a whole bunch of bikes, and that way, we're a well-oiled machine.
Pre-ordered.
So if people want to do it now, if someone just don't.
Don't.
Just don't.
Go to Metropolitan Ministries.
Right. Do something else because you really can't. It's funny that you say that because you legitimately, you just can't even make that happen. If someone wanted to do it, they should do something else.
Well, the funny thing is, and I'll tell you that yesterday people would order online from the Walmart.
Right.
And Drew was the only person that they would allow to sign for these bikes. So, I mean, while I was there, they'd bring out these little remote control, like iPads or whatever point-of-sale systems they had. And when I was there, you must have signed 10 bikes from online that only he could sign for them.
Yeah, that was a running funny thing the rest of the night. But I know our friends over at Fox 13, they've got a toy drive next Friday that they're doing, I think, at their studios. And Charlie Belcher is good enough to come to ours. So, if you have a burning desire to give toys and bikes and all that stuff, I'd point you towards the Fox 13 event that they have next Friday. They're good people over there.
All right, Drew.
It's amazing.
Enough about Christmas and you being such a good guy and a hero. And
it is amazing.
It is amazing. It's truly, and not only that, but throughout the year with the Apple Day and the brunch, and I think it is a true mark to a person with what they do with their success, and I think you do a tremendous job of balancing, the great show you have, but also the great things you do for the community. But
thanks, man.
Okay, that's enough about you. But I have to ask you a serious question that I meant to ask you yesterday. But I don't want you to tell anybody because I don't want to make a big deal about it. Okay. But I need,
all right.
But I need you to be honest with me here. Do you think should we be worried that we didn't get an invitation to the Cox Media Christmas party on Thursday?
Oh man! Oh God! I hate wading into these waters.
Look, I could take it. Just be honest with me, man.
No. Let me say this: should you be worried? Absolutely not. Okay. There's no cause for you to be worried whatsoever. Short answer: no. Long answer: no. No, you should not be worried. It is not a personal affront to you. It is in no way, shape, or form indicative of how the company feels about you, invests in your future, etc. There are elements at play when it comes to Cox Media Group holiday parties employees, shows at large, etc., that really gum up the works. if you will.
Politics.
You're a victim of that. You're a
Office
victim of
politics.
that. That's all.
So
Not even that. Not even office politics. Just the way things work as far as holiday parties, employees, etc.
All right, so I'll just take your word. But it sounded so much more fun than last year's, where we did get invited and we were in that very large, I guess, conference room at the spa, and we had that table, like the Last Supper table, and I was sitting next to you, and as soon as you sat down, you were figuring out a way to get out. So
last year's party sucked. This year's party was amazing.
Right, of course we get invited last year.
You weren't there. Yeah, no, but should you have FOMO big time that you weren't there? Yes, absolutely. Easy party.
Hey, no, honestly, all jokes aside, Drew, what you did was amazing. Sincerely, I know I don't ever go to these things, but I got to tell you something. Every time I speak with you and every time I hear you, you're a good man. I like you more and more. I think that the station's lucky to have you. That's the truth. I think that the community's lucky to have you, and that you care and you're interested in what's going on. So thank you very much for doing that.
Thanks, Don.
It means
no, yeah, Don, that means a lot. And Ben, you too, man. I really value both of you guys, and I'm glad we all are part of a family. And away from the microphone, I'll explain like how those holiday parties and things like that work, and assuage you a little bit. But please be assured that everybody loves you, and we would have loved to have you there.
Oh yeah, but I wouldn't have gone anyways, even if I had gotten invited. So
exactly. See, so why invite you?
All right, thanks, Drew.
Right.
We love you, man. Have a good weekend.
You know
I
what?
love you guys.
I got food in my throat.
What do we talk about eating on the air? I mean, it's like how many times?
Marcello and Gennaro, come on! I have the pizza right here.
Just do yourself a favor and the show a favor and the radio station a favor. Go back and listen to episodes when you talk or when you eat on the mic and what it sounds like.
Okay.
All right. But we do have Gennaro's here again, and I don't know how he got here through all that ridiculous traffic and construction outside of his spot.
Talk about small business. I know we have to go to commercial, but I want to. All right, can you stay for a minute? All right, well, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit too much. Oh, and we're going to also still Jim Flynn's here from South Tampa Dermatology. I was there this week. I love the place. I got to tell you, my experience was wonderful. As usual, Jim, it really was. You had nothing to do with the wonderfulness of my experience, but I appreciated being there because your wife is amazing.
Yes.
She does her job. She's amazing at her job. All right, we're going to come back with that. Not that much more here on the Miggs and Swig Show. That's you know what?
I didn't mean that.
Jamie,
button.
come on.
Button.
Jamie, what do you got going on for the holidays, real quick?
I'm going to be doing my absolute best to. My favorite thing in the world is to ignore my family.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And make sure my kids are very disappointed.
Good.
Let them know that I don't love them at all, and that's why they got no presents because they were terrible all year long.
Good. All right. Well, besides that, yeah, good. Actually, that is your great time.
That is my good time.
Listen, I have a question. Ben, I'm going to need your attention for this.
Yep.
All right, and everyone needs to play this thing real quick. So think of a number.
17.
No.
Oh, okay.
Just
between what?
Now do a different number. Any number you want. I'd keep it not so high if I were you.
Okay,
so think of a number.
Add and then subtract.
Think of a number. Everyone has it, yeah?
All right, yeah.
Double it.
Yep.
Everyone okay?
Yep.
Everyone got that? All right.
Yep.
Guys, there's a lot of men in this room right now. Smells like man. Add 6.
All right.
We all good?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Want to tell you, small business owner. I know you got numbers. All right.
Hang on. I ran out of fingers. Give me a second.
Half that.
All right.
Okay.
Subtract the number you started with.
All right.
You should all have the number 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
How crazy is that?
That's basic math.
Huh.
It
I
is?
didn't do it.
Yeah, because the number you always going for is 3. I mean, just no matter what number you add or subtract or divide, the number is always 3.
All you really did was take 6 and divide it in half.
That's all it is, right?
That's all it was.
It's so, but it's
well,
still.
You double the number and then you cut it in half after you had
But no,
it.
that's like saying, look over here as your, but it's just one little bit of math.
It is.
Well, the basic is you subtract the number you were thinking. I mean, you just taking the number you were thinking out of the picture. That's the whole thing.
The problem with me and my numbers
is you got the wrong number.
No, I used the price of Bitcoin when you started, and then it fluctuated by $3,000 by the time you were done. So it got all screwed up.
Okay. Besides that, perfect.
Yeah.
I just
besides
love
that,
how easily amused you are, actually.
That did
By the way,
amuse me.
look, shiny toy over
You're
here.
right. That's
Ooh,
what it does,
nice.
right?
Yeah.
All right. So listen, we're enjoying this wonderful pizza, but
Thank
more
you.
important, what the hell, oh kitty, is going on in your neighborhood?
Oh, my neighborhood right now is just it's just destroyed right now.
If people want to see that, because there's an image that Jamie showed me. Do you have that on Instagram or something?
Yeah, I have it on my Facebook page.
What's your? Give us how do people get you?
My Twitter account is Gennaro is best one, and that's from Gennaro's. And my Facebook is Gennaro's Italiano.
All right.
And just that's a picture we see every day.
So small. So we do a lot with small business here. As you know, we have Jim here from South Tampa Dermatology.
We really appreciate it.
And I can't even believe whoever did this. So explain what's going on in front of you.
It started 2.5, almost 3 years ago. The city came and asked all of us if they're okay, that they will redo the whole entire infrastructure of the area. New sewage, new water lines. They will actually put in all the electricity, all the wires hanging underneath the ground. They tell us it will be a 19-month project, no stress at all. Everything will be in sections. They will do in a stage 1, a stage 2, a stage 3, and they never go start the next station before they don't finish one. And the project started. We find out that the construction company actually don't have records of what nothing is underneath there prior 1950.
City planning at its best, right there.
His best, yeah. I mean, before 1950, they don't have actually plans. The water is buried down there. When the companies start digging, they start finding out all kinds of things that wasn't there. A lot of stuff was buried out of code, very shallow. I mean, when they were digging, they were breaking water lines, they were breaking gas lines, and every single time put us out of business for 2 or 3 days because a restaurant with no gas cannot work. A restaurant without water cannot work.
Right.
A restaurant without sewage cannot work. And every single time they was hitting a line, they were shutting down for around 2 or 3 days. And this started that way.
So,
After
so
that,
how many days do you think? I mean, take the hurricane out.
No, the city's worse than Irma.
But he was closed for a couple days and lost a lot of profit. But because of the construction, directly related to the construction, how many days do you think you've been closed?
I've been closed for the construction around probably close to a month.
A month total,
30 days, 30 working days.
And no one pays for that, but
no,
you.
there's no recourse.
The
against
property
city.
taxes are still due.
Oh, it's still due every month. My rent is still due every month. I mean, just that's how to work. And
But there's no recourse. There's nothing.
nope.
There's nothing.
We talk to the city manager and the person in charge of the construction. We ask for help. They said they don't have help. They don't have money for help the businesses. I mean, it's not just me. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
You have
It's
a lot
everybody.
of business over there, and you have a lot of people that pay a lot of money in taxes living there. That neighborhood is a gorgeous neighborhood, and you know how the city is. The more close to the water you are, the higher the taxes you pay.
Right.
That's how it works. The better, the nicer neighborhood you live, higher your taxes. I mean, now you have people paying tens of thousands of dollars every year in property taxes, and they have basically an inch of dust inside their homes. They're getting actually respiratory infections because all this dirt flying around.
It's unbelievable because goes back to what we started with the show. It's the same. I guarantee the same people who are making this happen are also saying we've got to help kids and let's go buy a bike.
We got to help
while they're
small
screwing
businesses, right?
But hey, by the way, do you detect? Is it a Jersey accent I hear on him? No.
A Jersey
No,
accent.
no, my accent is a little. You see, when I came to the United States in
Argentina.
96, well, it's a little bit mixed.
Or as Mo says, Colombia.
Colombia,
Yeah, Colombia.
I will explain you how
Somewhere
my
there.
accent came along. When I came to the United States, I don't know how to speak a word of English. That was in 96. And the only place that I find him, remember back in the day used to be Blockbuster, you can rent the movies, and I became a member of that. And the only movie that I found with Spanish subtitles was a movie called My Blue Heaven. And it's a funny movie. And
I mean, Roland thinks so.
that wise, my accent sounds more like a New Yorker
Yeah.
or like a Jersey. And after I started working with my uncle, Gennaro, there's the restaurant I own
There
now.
you go.
I started working as a cook and as a dishwasher back in the day. And he came from the Bronx.
Huh.
And I married a Puerto Rican lady that she was born and raised in the Bronx.
There you
And
go.
They teach me how to speak English. And that's what my
So you
accent-
sound like
I
someone
sound a
from
little bit
Hoboken.
Spanish, Italian, because at home we used to speak Italian with grandma, grandpa, mom, and dad.
Right.
And after I Spanish with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came here, I was speaking a little bit of broken Spanish with my wife because my wife really don't know how to speak Spanish really that well. And a lot of New Yorker English,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how they teach me how to. That's when I sound a little bit weird.
So basically, you learn how to speak English by Steve Martin and Rick Moranis.
You got it.
From the 1990s.
Yeah, that's why I say
Yeah, yeah.
vegetables.
But
I say vegetables.
So, Jim, what would you do if they were doing that in front of your place? I mean, the difference is, I guess, it hurts his business more because he, as pizza, people can come in quick.
He has peak hours. We're spread out through the day.
Yeah.
He's got a lot more issues because if something happens at 11:30, lunch is shot, dinner may be shot too, and no one seems to know what they're doing.
And then they don't come back tomorrow.
Yes, in the area that we are, basically we don't have no lunch at all. Lunch is very limited because, remember, we live in a residential area. I mean, a lot of people go out to work. I mean, and you don't have a lot of people there. The only time that we have lunch business is in the weekends when people go to the beach or they want to spend time in the beach, and that's when we have lunchtime. The problem is our peak hours start between 4:35 all the way to 9 o'clock. Now, you come from work, you're already tired, you just want to call, pick up something, or go to eat, and now you have to deal with a bunch of detours. Your car is getting destroyed by the holes in the ground. Your car gets completely dirty. That's the other part. We all taken care of by our cars, and especially when you have a lease car or, a newer car. And now you don't want to go there because you don't want to dirty your car.
Right.
You don't want to destroy your car. And they say, instead they go to Gennaro's once or twice a week like we used to do, we do once a month. And we wait for the construction to finish. Now the construction has been going on for 2.5 years.
Right.
Now you just say, I avoid the area, period, and when they're done, I come back.
Well, Dale's on line one. He has a question that I was going to ask you, and I think it's a very good one. Dale, welcome to the Miggs and Swig Show. Oh, he doesn't have.
Hey, welcome. Thank you, guys. Obviously this is a really fine gentleman, and he's been very supportive of a lot of your efforts on the air, and he needs assistance. I just wonder if he's checked with his insurance, because most insurance policies carry a business interruption clause. So, I wouldn't even necessarily take my insurance company's word,
right.
But between an attorney and his insurance policy, he might very well have coverage for that.
Well, thank you, Dale. That's a good question.
Thank you, Dale.
Yeah.
And I already checked that in the first year, of course.
Yeah, right.
And what happened is when the city go into it's actually a policy in your, it's a article, a clause in your policy. When the city is doing this kind of complete remodel, the infrastructure, your insurance is basically out of it.
All right.
I
Well,
already checked
look,
out the first.
the bottom line is, and we were talking about the restaurant industry and what a tough business it is, and when you look at financials of a restaurant that has to close a day out of the month for Memorial Day or something, it takes a big hit to the bottom line.
yeah,
and I can't even imagine what 30 days does. So please go out and support Gennaro's. He's a great friend of the Bone. He's a great guy. He comes and gives us pizza every week, and he does a lot for the community. He's been around there for 30 years?
28 and a half.
28 and a half. Well,
June 7th the next year will be 29
we'll
years.
round it up to 30 years. The city is strangling him with construction. Fight through the construction and go support Gennaro's.
Thank you,
If
guys.
you're
I
a high
appreciate
school
it.
kid who's figured out drone delivery, give this guy a call.
Drone
He
delivery.
needs it.
Yeah.
There you go, Jim.
Drone delivery would be good.
I look into that. I like.
Could
to
you do
look
that
into
at some
things.
point, right?
Well, they're talking about Amazon doing it. Look at them. Who knows?
It's a logistics nightmare with the drone part because you
Several
have
drones.
airspace and the laws about airspace. I own a drone and
yeah, I do too.
I own a fancy
I hate
one,
the
and
drone.
I almost already sold it.
Yeah,
but
it's
Sell it
restricted.
to
you
Ben.
have to have a pilot's license to fly it. It's just
registered. Who knows? Who
registered,
knows
yes.
what's going to happen? Pretty soon, maybe drones will be delivering us food, and self-driving cars will be taking us to the airport. I do want to mention we had Drew on, and Don, you asked a question about what people could do now that he's done. I do want to remind people that Mo is sitting on the beach, probably with a big joint in his mouth, getting ivory in Jamaica.
Why? Because he has dreadlocks? All of a sudden you're making me now he's some sort of drug addict.
He's probably drinking a rum cocktail. So he's not on the air, but Johnny B will be.
Gotcha.
Out at Biff's annual Toys for Pinellas Kids. So it'd be out at Biff's Burgers, I guess it's called.
Yeah, that's at 49th Street and 30.
Yeah, 3939 49th Street North in St. Pete. He's there all day. He will be live on the air, though, from 3 to 6 during Mo's time. So if you have a toy, please bring it. You didn't get to give it to Drew. Go out and see our guy, Johnny B. I'll probably drive out there and say hi to him at some point today.
And when you leave there, then you go to Gennaro's and get yourself a slice of pizza. When you're done with that, you head on over to South Tampa Dermatology, and you get some Botox or get that tattoo you never really should have gotten removed. And when you're done with that, you head over to Metropolitan Ministries and you try help saving the world, because that's what we do here.
Yeah, I think the bone buys into it. I think obviously Don, you and your family do. Gennaro's does it, and Jim does it as well. But I think it's a basic premise: you can't keep what you don't give away.
Yeah,
and what you give away comes back to you tenfold. And especially around this Christmas season, just do something for somebody else. Especially those who aren't as fortunate.
Like Ben. Dude,
yeah,
Ben.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to do my own toy drive for my kids.
Well, sorry about the No Joe show. She'll be back next week, I believe.
By
herself,
yeah.
which will work out well. So it'll be an all Joe show from a No Joe show.
Yeah.
All right, good. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to Miggs and Swig, and be good to each other and to yourselves, and we'll see you next time.